According to the Catholic Church, is atheism considered a heresy?
Well, I think we probably should define what atheism is, Jonathan. What do you think that might be? What's your definition?
I think atheism is believing in a lack of God.
Okay, so believing there is no God or deity, do you think it's a new concept, or has that been around since when?
I think it's been around for pretty much since the beginning of time, ever since people had the concept of theology, or that there was a higher being. People have always been against the fact that there is anything out there to be the creator.
Well, so it kind of goes back to the Greek. The Greek had a Greek term that because they had a series of gods, and the Greeks categorized any of their citizens that didn't believe in any of their deities or gods. There was a Greek word, but it translates to atheism. But that whole concept really didn't really have a presence in our society until about the 1600s, when the Renaissance took place. And during the Renaissance times, the concept or the thought of there's no God, there's no higher being, kind of sort of came into a sort of a group, sort of a clique, and that group sort of tied it in with the art world, and became sort of a maybe a slow brewing sort of subculture. Probably not a lot of members, because during the Renaissance it was a very popular time to be Catholic, if not part of a religion. So tying that back into your original question, is it a heresy against the Catholic Church? So by definition it is, because a heresy is any belief system that is in variance with another belief system. So by definition it is heresy, but but the problem with that is you're making the assumption that there is an entire belief system to there being not a God. And what do you say to that?
Well, I think that's a very conclusive opinion. And it leads to my next question, which is, what do you think defines a heresy? Now, I think you've already stated this, but...
Right, so, a heresy is basically if there's a belief system that has, some context that is directly opposing another belief system. And obviously the Catholic Church has a well-established belief system, and initially atheists just didn't believe that there was a deity. And since that time, they put on, they wrote doctrine, and they wrote doctrine, they got followers, and they actually created this whole body of information that in essence makes them believe that they have a belief system. So that is kind of where it all settles. It's sort of a body of information that God doesn't exist or a deity doesn't exist, in direct contrast to every other faith on the planet.
Okay, thank you for your time. I would conclude this session. What is your opinion on atheism?
My opinion on atheism? Well, it's sort of a double-edged question. I don't believe that atheism is really a faith. It's just it's probably a lot of people who are just misguided, who have never been exposed to faith, and who just simply believe that they survive on this planet, and what they do is under their own accord. They have no higher being to look up to, and quite simply, it probably leads to an empty life. And I would bet that many of these atheists out there, when it gets down to it, they find towards the end of their life they may end up changing their opinion, because it's hard to imagine that you are by yourself on this planet without any guidance of any sort, without anybody who loves you infinitely, and really that we think that we're so omnipotent and so knowing and powerful that we control our own destiny.
That's pretty good.
All right. So, according to the Catholic Church, is atheism considered a heresy?
Yes.
What do you think defines a heresy?
A heresy is a false teaching.
Okay. What are your opinions on atheism?
My opinions on it?
Yes.
I don't have anything against it.
Do you think atheists will go to hell?
No.
What is the difference between agnosticism and atheism?
Agnosticism is like people who are indifferent to it. They're like not sure. And atheism is people who have a firm belief that it's not true. There's no God.
Okay, well, that's it.